Jazz Bear got me a sweater.
Gotta love Jazz Bear. Like a really good team win. I think two things stand out. First of all, the first half, we were, I think, 4 for 18 from three. Not shooting the ball well, got a bunch of good looks, did not abandon how we wanted to play, continued to generate good shots, and went 10 for 16 from three in the second half. The percentages came back in our favor. The second thing that I thought was really good for us was I thought that our communication mixing the defenses, we were able to really protect the paint tonight. They had 36 points in the paint. Walker obviously did a very good job making some plays at the rim, but it wasn't just him. I thought the lineup, when we were technically smaller, with John at 5, John made some great plays at the rim as well. I think those two things stand out to me. It allowed us to take care of the ball on the offensive end, only having 5 turnovers in the second half, one of them being a travel that happened with like 40 seconds left in the game. So I'm really proud of the team. They've continued to stick together. They've continued to work, but they've really dug in on just like the details of how we wanted to play. It's not just about like the spirit or the togetherness. Like they've continued to learn. I think you're seeing with guys like Colin, his decision making, finding the corner more in pick and roll. Like he's showing real growth in terms of the technical part of the game, the reads that he's making with the ball. Obviously great to have John back tonight. It was great to have Lowry out there again. You feel a little bit more whole when those guys play. You know, Talen and Colin were both phenomenal tonight with 27 points each and 6 assists each, 3 combined turnovers. You know, I'm proud of the work that those two have done. I'm very hard on both of them. I expect a lot from both of them. I think they're both capable of giving our team a bunch of things that can help us win, and I think they've both dug in and continued to learn and understand how they fit with our group, and when their opportunities are to score and when their opportunities are to pass. So the team is continuing to improve. I think if you look at the last 4 games, how we've played on both sides of the ball is way more representative of who we're trying to be, and I think gives us an opportunity to be competitive night to night.
I imagine you considered John Collins as a backup 5 at points during the preseason or after the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you wait to try that, and then what have you seen since he's done?
Yeah, I think. What do you mean, wait to try it?
Well, it seems like it's been installed. He did it in the Clippers game a lot,
mm-hmm.
and then you did it again tonight. He wasn't doing it a ton to open the season.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try to get him and Walker as much time together as possible early in the year to see what that looked like. I think as we've gone on, John is more comfortable as a 5, and it probably took Walker being out, being injured, for us to play John at 5 a lot and see how he looked over a bigger window of time with our team in that role. So yeah, trying to get John to play with the second group as a 5 is definitely something that we're looking to do more. It was definitely talked about in preseason, but we didn't know what he and Walker were going to look like together until we gave it a shot. I think John's ability to shoot the ball, especially from the corner, in theory gives he and Walker an opportunity to play together. But, John has shown himself to be really effective when he's a 5, because then his spacing adds a whole different element to the team, and he's still a great roller on the rim. So it's taken us, a little bit of time to settle into who fits best where. But, that's part of our job, is that we have ideas as coaches, and we have to be, if we're going to be a good staff, if we're going to be a great staff, we have to be willing to change our minds and not be stubborn and try to force something on the team. If we give it a good enough window and opportunity and we feel like there's something that we should pivot to, we need to pivot. And that's just one example of that.
How do you feel about kind of building on this with Talen and Colin in particular, kind of getting more consistency on a night-to-night basis with their decision-making and whatnot?
Yeah, I think obviously tonight, statistically, just the numbers they have jump off the page. But I think outside of the Sacramento game, where I thought, Talen was a little under the weather and a little bit out of sorts, I think that he and Colin have made pretty good progress, especially over the last 5, 6, 7 games in terms of their decision-making. That doesn't mean they always make the shots. It doesn't mean that when they pass, their teammates always make the shots. So sometimes the stats are a little misleading, but I think both of them have been improving. And I think that this pocket of time, not just tonight, it does allow us to hold them to a far higher standard because they've told on themselves, so to speak. And they've shown that, the work pays off and that they're capable of recognizing and understanding what's going on the court as things are changing around them. Coverages changes, the lineups change that they're playing with. They've both come off the bench a lot this year. Tonight they both start together and their play hasn't necessarily changed. So yeah, I think it's great when guys play the way that you envision them playing over a pocket of time. And then it's even better when they get a night where the numbers show them in a different way that what they're doing is paying off.
We don't often see Colin attempt 13 free throws in a game. What was, I guess, different about the way he was playing tonight in that regard?
Yeah, Colin's a really physical driver. I think that there's a lot of plays over the course of the season where he doesn't get a whistle for whatever reason. I think he does a good job of playing in straight lines, and I think he gets fouled more than he gets the whistle. But I think tonight, he was really adamant about not bailing out his defender by trying to sort of round out his drive. I think he did a really good job playing through guys' hips, and I think he did to them what teams have done to us, where when people got their hands caught in the wrong spot, he gathered through their arms. He got Royce once in front of our bench, where Royce did a pretty good job defensively, but ended up just having kind of a hand lingering in front of Colin, and Colin did a good job of gathering through his arm. So, this is all stuff that Colin's been working on. He works on his gathers every day. It's a big part of being a scorer. It's a big part of drawing fouls, is having a variety of gathers with the ball. And, I think tonight, obviously I don't expect Colin to shoot 13 free throws every night, but I think that he probably should be shooting 2 to 3 more every game based on the amount of contact he draws.
When it comes to finding consistency, how much does it help having a 4-game stretch like Colin's on right now?
It's great. I think it's good for his psyche. Any player that works as hard as Colin does, you always need to see some positive results. So I think he's in a really good headspace right now. I think it's he's also seeing that you can make really good decisions over and over again and still score a lot of points. They're not mutually exclusive. You can do both. I think sometimes when guys think I need to be a scorer, they think that means they don't need to pass as much. You can do both, and it helps keep the defense honest. And then in turn, you end up having more opportunities. I think the times that Colin found the corner in the first half helped him in the second half, because there were some times that he drove where they didn't help as much. So I think this pocket of games has been big for Colin, because he's obviously scored the ball. I think he's averaging, 25 a game or something over the last 4. But it's also been his best stretch of passing. And so I think it's proving to him that you can execute what we're asking him to execute, and you can still put up big numbers.
So Lowry has another kind of ho-hum 20 points in less than 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 games, he's averaging over 20 and really efficiently like that. What is about? He just missed 8 games. Does that? How much do you find yourself surprised that he can miss 8 games and still be as efficient as he is?
I don't know if I'm surprised. Lowry's been really efficient since he's been here. I think the best part about Lowry is that he doesn't need the ball a ton to have a huge impact on the game. Like, he's so good at moving without the ball. He's obviously a high-level shooter. Like, it's funny, he scored 20, was 1 for 5 from 3. But he does a good job of cutting and playing against switching. His size shows up with some plays around the rim. He's being more physical and getting to the free throw line. Like, I think he's not just relying on jump shots, and that's giving him the ability to be more consistent. I think having missed 8 games, there could be a tendency, if everything you were doing was based on rhythm, it could be hard to come back and be productive. But Lowry's not just relying on his, skill set. He's playing with force. He's using his size in the right moments. He's doing a good job of mixing how he's trying to score. It's not all one thing. And that's something that he and I talk about. I mean, there's stretches, there's times with any player where, like, we're shooting a lot of jump shots right now, a lot of threes. And that all feels good when you're hot from 3, but if not, you're just kind of letting the defense off the hook, and he has so much more to offer. So he's doing a much better job of recognizing how he's being played and just taking what's in front of him.
What do you see from Walker in the zone? How does it highlight what he does?
Walker's best thing defensively is protecting the rim. And the zone is partially designed to keep him as close to the rim as possible for as much of the possession as possible. So I think he, in general, has done a really good job of being down by the basket. I'm always on Walker about his communication. I think that's an area where he can really improve, is when you're in the back of the zone, you're the person that can see everything. And he needs to continue to do a better job of using his voice, because he has good defensive instincts, and I think he sees what's going on, but now it's about telling his teammates what's happening behind them. But yeah, the zone has been good for us and for Walker. It allows us to play him against lineups that technically are really small. They went to Finney-Smith at the 5, who shoots 44% from 3, and then they pivoted to Royce O'Neal, I guess technically as the 5. Who's the 5, him or Cam Johnson, it doesn't matter, but it's all perimeter players. And so instead of having to take Walker out of the game, shifting into a zone allows him to continue to stay on the floor, protect the rim, where we don't have to disrupt our own rhythm too much.
Your transition defense this season hasn't always been great. And
thank you.
Yeah. That was a bad way of saying it. Tonight, they only had 10 fast break points. I don't think that probably includes like a couple of like the late leak out or trailing transition threes. But, what was so effective tonight? What was different?
2 things I think are, when our offense makes sense and the ball moves and you make the defense work, by the time they get the ball, they kind of take a breath for a second before they take off running. I think early in the season, when the transition defense was particularly struggling, it was because our offense was clunky, and we were either taking bailout shots early, turning the ball over too much, where you really don't have a chance to get back and play defense. But I think part of playing good offense is wearing the other team down, making them guard multiple actions, making them really have to sit down and guard for not just 6 seconds. And so I think the two go hand in hand for sure. I also think there were some good plays at the basket. Talen had one in the first half that was great. Got back, went to the basket, went vertical, didn't reach, and they missed a layup, which is stuff we work on all the time. So it's a little bit of both, but I do think that our offense is impacting our transition defense.
You mentioned the three-point shooting difference in the first and second half. Was that simply just trusting it and letting it go, or did you notice anything different that allowed that improvement?
I think for the most part, it was just the guys stuck with it, and we made a few more. Obviously, we got some good looks in the first half from the corner. Like John ended up, where's John? Yeah, he missed his first one. Ochai was only 1 for 5, but in the second half, like, they each hit a corner three. Talen hit one above the break. Like, I think in theory, the ball just kept moving. We kept finding the corner. Like, it wasn't like we made a bunch of contested ones in the second half. We are harping on the team to shoot catch and shoots, and especially in the corners. Like, we can't pass those up. And so I think when they don't go in the first half, my biggest fear is that we're going to start to overdrive and turn down those corner threes, and I didn't think that we did that tonight. So I think overall it just felt like they stuck with how we were trying to play. We didn't make a big schematic change at halftime. We did a couple things a little differently, but for the most part, the credit goes to the guys and their ability to just kind of maintain their focus.
You hear people say, like, when a good three-point shooting team has a bad stretch, like you guys did in the first half, that they're due. Is that something on the sideline that you guys feel, or is that just something kind of us in the media?
I mean, I think percentages are there for a reason. You would expect them to kind of come back to you. You know, it's like when a player shoots 50%, it's very rare that they just make one out of every 2 shots. They can miss 3 in a row and then make 3 in a row. You know, and with our team, it's been a lot of work to just continue to build the trust in what we're doing, and for them to understand that you can play well and not win. You can play well and not make shots. You can also play like a clown and make shots. Like, there's a difference. And so, like, part of how we watch film and evaluate what we're doing with the team is, like, the result is of each play doesn't matter. It's like, hey, if we do this over and over and over again, the percentages on this type of shot are good for us. So it's, yeah, we feel that. We try not to overly talk about it in the game. We try to have some reminders of, like, hey, we're getting good looks. Like, just keep doing what we're doing offensively so that we don't go rogue. But, yeah, it's definitely something that we feel.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.